We have our eminent guest, Dr. Saleemul Huq, who has been working on climate and development issues for a long time, equally long as the bulletin Tiempo has been around since 1994. We have asked Dr. Huq to talk about Tiempo, about its successes in the past and its plans for the future. Saleem, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and hello to everybody. Tiempo is a magazine that we have been bringing out for practically the last decade, every quarter, every 3 months, and we send it out to about 5,000 or 6,000 people in developing countries for free. It's aimed at people who work in development in developing countries, in agriculture or in water sector or in the health sector, who are not necessarily climate change experts, but who increasingly want to know more information about climate change issues that are relevant to them. So it's aimed at a development audience, not a climate audience, to bring them the climate change and development message. So it's a journal on climate change and development, not just climate change. And there's also a website which is updated more frequently. Every fortnight, information that's relevant for climate change and development goes up on the website. It's tiempocyberlibrary.org. And in the last year, we have started doing a French version, which is actually aimed at Francophone West Africa. It's done by one of our partners based in Senegal called ENDA, and they've now produced, I think, 3, if not 4 issues in French. And we are planning to do more of them, possibly in Spanish as well for Latin America, if we can raise the funding to do that. But we're hoping that in future, Tiempo will continue to produce both the hard copy, which we'll be able to continue to give to people in developing countries for free. All you have to do is to send us your full address and ask for a subscription, and we can send it to you. And the website will continue with its regular updates and additional information that is not necessarily in the magazine. We have the French version focusing on Francophone Africa, and we hope to have a Spanish version focusing on Latin America. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Do you know when you're going to start having the Spanish version? Or
as soon as we have some money. We're at the moment negotiating with some of our funders about getting the next phase of Tiempo funded. So we're hoping that we will get funding. The French version, which we started a year ago, as I said, has proved very popular. So we're hoping that a Spanish version will also be something that they will focus on.
¿Preguntas?
Does anybody in the audience know Tiempo at all?
I'm afraid I couldn't bring copies because all our documents haven't arrived yet. So we are still trying to change the documents, so I don't have a copy to show you. But hopefully they'll arrive soon and they'll be on the booth here. SEI have very kindly agreed to put them out. It's a joint venture with SEI, so it's their publication just as much as ours.
Saleem, why is there a need for Tiempo?
When we started it 10 years ago, it was more sort of raising awareness about climate change amongst the development community. At that time, development people were not really that aware about it, and over time more and more have become aware. I'd say in the last year the demand for information now is outstripping the ability to supply. The awareness has grown considerably, and now people want to know, what can I do about climate change? People working in development in developing countries. And so the need for Tiempo, I think, has increased tremendously now, and we're hoping that we'll be able to meet some of that demand.
Why do you think this interest in development, in the development community for climate change information has grown so much?
I think in the last year there are several reasons why. Firstly, the global hype and publicity around Copenhagen raised awareness everywhere. Secondly, in the developing countries, there was a lot of activity among civil society in the run-up to Copenhagen. There were large participation from civil society actors, from journalists from the developing countries attending the UNFCCC meetings, particularly COP15 in Copenhagen. The heads of state visited. They didn't do very much, but they all went back very much aware about the problem. So the awareness issue has now reached a tipping point. Everybody is aware about the problem, and when they become aware, they then move on to wanting to know what to do. And that's really where we need to provide them with information. And Tiempo is just one vehicle. There are many others that are going to be needed. It's not going to be enough. The demand, as I said, is far outstrips our ability to supply it, and many other actors will also have to get into it.
So, Saleem, you talk about funding, and I understand that there is a need for increased funding over the next few years. You've got the opportunity now in the camera to make an appeal for funds for Tiempo over the next few years?
I'm happy to do that. Any funders out there, Tiempo is a very well-established enterprise and dissemination tool. We have been evaluated several times over the last decade and been very well evaluated. We're very willing to share that information. And as I said, the demand is out there. Anybody who works in this field will know that the demand for information relevant for development of climate change is out there, and we're in a position to satisfy that. So it's an existing vehicle that has a good track record that can demonstrate the ability to reach people, and we hope that there will be funders out there who will be willing to support us.
Do you know how many people you reach at this point?
Well, the magazine goes out to about 5,000 people in the south, and if we have an average readership of 2 or 3, then we're reaching at least 10 or 15,000. The website gets a lot of hits. I don't know the exact number, but it's also in the multiples of thousands, if not tens of thousands. And so it is a very good vehicle for getting information. As I said, it's meant not for climate change people, but for development people who want to know relevant information for them on climate change. And every issue we focus sometimes on thematic areas, sometimes on agriculture, sometimes on water, sometimes on health, which are targeted at particular cohorts of development actors who can then find out information that's relevant for them.
More questions?
In how many time we can see this information and this document in Spanish?
I hope so by next year, if all goes well. I hope.
The website?
The website is all in English, I'm afraid, but we do have links to publications in other languages. We don't publish in other languages ourselves, but we monitor French and Spanish publications that are relevant. So on our website, what we do every fortnight is we look at the information that's come out that we think is relevant. So our key phrases are link between climate change and development. So anything that's linked information, we bring out a fortnightly newsletter, which also captures Spanish literature as well. So you can subscribe to that. You can get an email every fortnight with information, updated information on what is happening. So we collect information for you and then tell you what you might want to go and look at.
Any other questions? Okay, one more question for you. We have Development and Climate Days this weekend. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Development and Climate Days is a 2-day side event that we have been running at the COP for a number of years now. It's a joint venture between IIED, my institute, Stockholm Environment Institute, and the International Institute for Sustainable Development in Canada. And it's an opportunity to use the Conference of Parties to bring together like-minded people who, again, have an interest between the links between development and climate. And when we started doing this a number of years ago, there were very few people that were interested in development at these climate change conferences. In the last few years, the numbers have increased tremendously. And so this event that we do every weekend is something that people have come to know. They come to it. It's a meeting place, a place for networking. We try and put interesting information, presentations, discussions. We also, in the last couple of years, have been running a parallel video program. So there's an ongoing morning till evening different videos program going on. People can watch them and talk to the people who make the videos as well, which has also been proved to be very popular.
Cool.
We've got over 600 people registered for the event in Cancun. Even more are registering today as we speak. So we're expecting quite a few people to that event. It's tomorrow and the day after, Saturday and Sunday, the 4th and 5th.